Muy bien. Hoy vamos a hablar acerca de qué hora es. So we're going to talk about how to tell time and how to read time in Spanish. Entonces, esto es muy importante porque podemos aprender cómo decir la hora, how to tell time, or decir a qué hora algo está pasando, to tell what time something happens. ¿Está bien? Entonces, for example, let's imagine that this is our clock and we want to help someone to know the time. So the same in English it does in Spanish. We read the number and then add the fraction at the end. So for example, to tell time, we're gonna say son las, and then depending on the hour, we're gonna use son las whenever it's any other hour except for 1. So if it's 2, 3, 4, whatever number, except for 1, you're gonna use son las. But if it's 1, then you're gonna use es la, okay? And one thing about using 1, or telling that it's 1 o'clock or 1:30, you're always gonna make uno feminine, okay? So that's an important thing. So for example, if someone asks you, ¿qué hora es? Then you look at the clock and then you can see, oh, so 9:30. So we're gonna say, son las 9:30, right? We can say 30, but we can also say 9:30. It doesn't work as well in English, but in Spanish you can say that. Las 9:30, right? So when talking about 30, we're gonna say media. Okay, so 9:30. So what if we change that to this one? ¿Qué hora es? Son las 3:30. ¿Está bien? What about that one? So this is the hour, this is the minutes. So son las 12:15. So you could say 15 or cuarto. Okay, so here you could say 12:15 or 12:15. Okay, so what about if we change that to ¿qué hora es? Son las 7:15. Okay? So that's the principal idea, or that's the main idea of how to tell time. And talking about 1, so let's just do one example. Let's change the hour to 1. Es la 1:30. So es la 1:30. And that's one thing you need to remember. This, it's only going to happen with 1. The rest of the hours is going to be son las. And on the previous video, we talked about ser and how we use the acronym doctor, and how to tell time we need the verb ser, and that's what we're using here. Son las es la. Okay. So now let's talk about to tell what time something happens. So this is a different thing. This is just to tell the time with no specific reason, but here is how to tell when something is happening. So someone might ask you, ¿a qué hora es? Like, what time is it? Or what time is, and then whatever event someone needs to know the information about. So for example, ¿a qué hora es tu clase de español? What time is your Spanish class? So this is how we ask about a specific event. ¿A qué hora es tu clase de español? And then we're gonna respond. And look at this here. The way we respond, depends on what time it is. So as you can see, we use singular es to refer one, and we use the plural form of the verb ser when talking about the rest of the hour. So that's going to happen the same here. A la, una, or a las, depending on the rest of the hours, excluding one. Does that make sense? So a la when we're talking about one, and a las when we talk about any other hour during the day. Okay? So if I ask you, coming back to the question, ¿a qué hora es tu clase de español? So we can respond, a la 1:30, or a las 7:15. Okay? So this is the question that you're always going to ask when talking about time, and this is the way you respond to tell the time about an event. So how to tell time? Son las, es la, to tell what time something happens. A la, a las. Good. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you an hour, and then you have to write it, and then at the end we're going to review it together and see if what you have is correct, okay? So the first hour that I want you to write is 3:40 de la tarde. 3:40 de la tarde. The next one, 11:15 de la mañana. 11:15 de la mañana. Next one, 6:45 de la tarde. 6:45 de la tarde. Next one, 7:03 de la mañana. 7:03 de la mañana. Next one, 11:30 de la mañana. 11:30 de la mañana. Next one, 2:18 de la tarde. 2:18 de la tarde. Next one, 7:55 de la noche. 7:55 de la noche. 1:35 de la tarde. That's the next one. 1:35 de la tarde. Okay? So what you have to do is, now that you listened, you have to write in numbers the time that I just told you. And you have to decide if it's PM or AM. Okay? So let's review the first one. So the answer should have been 3:40 p.m. Okay? The next one. So check your work, see if it's correct. So check your work. Another way to say the time in Spanish is to add to, for example, if you wanted to say 7:55, that's correct, but you can also Go to the next hour following 7, in this case 8, minus 5 minutes. So that's another way you can say it. So this one will be 8 menos 5. Okay? Another example of that will be ¿Qué hora es? Son las 4, and I said 4 because we're going to the next hour. 4 menos 15. So like 4 minus 14 de la tarde. Another way is 7 menos 10 de la mañana. So 7 minus 10 a.m. 7 menos 10 de la mañana. So I hope this was useful on how to tell time. And just to point out, just remember that there are 2 different ways, one to tell time and one is to tell when something's happening. And keep practicing, and I hope this helped.